American.
When thousands of people in various arenas from Pasadena to Chicago stand up to see the American flag and to hear the national anthem being sung, played, they think of those young soldiers who died on the beaches of Normandy so that we, the Europeans, could be liberated. You are watching Liberty 24, a view from Europe on American affairs. Who will stand for a divided house? That was the question I asked myself. The flag is a symbol that talks about dignity, sovereignty, honor, and freedom. President Trump was right to call our attention. The American flag presents to the entire world the image of one nation under God, a nation filled with dreams, ambitions, and achievements, but failures too. The flag celebrates the invisible contract between the living, the dead, and the unborn. Now, how many athletes do you think? Athletes who found themselves trapped into the political trenches of Washington, D.C., knew what they were doing. How many of them knew that their attitude on the pitch was being used by the Democratic Party propaganda machine? Sportsmen may ignore the fact that there are forces out there interested in destroying the very fabric of American society, the traditional bonds and affections which constitute really a nation, a civil society, and all the rest of it. Football players turn into social justice warriors. What a pitiful image of contemporary America. Some sportsmen stand, some others don't, they kneel. Some spectators cheer, others boo. This is the image of the United States. It looks like a house divided. By whom, in whose interest, and to what end? As the great British philosopher Edmund Burke once put it, manners are more important than the law itself. Kneeling while the national anthem is being played is an exercise in bad manners. Don't teach your kids to do that. Should I lecture? Let's just give an example. Should I lecture my neighbor from Brazil about slavery in his country, the history of poverty in his country, on the very day people in Brazil, in his own home country, celebrate their national day? Is that acceptable? Or should I mock my Russian colleague when I go to work just because his ancestors, maybe his grandfather, occupied my country in 1945? Should I remind him of that 70 years down the line? Is that decent? Should we deem it acceptable, this behavior, social behavior? This is very important for you guys to understand. Does the guilt of past generations automatically transfer to those who were born in the 21st century? These are very important questions. Is there an instance of reconciliation where we can all sort of forget about the past? That's a very, very important question. All Americans, of course, as I said, have the right to protest against governmental policies. But by the same token, all Americans can be expected to respect the very foundation of their political existence. I said very foundation of their political existence, which is what? Which is the Constitution, the flag, and the Declaration of Independence, by the way, which was written by very smart people. Now, there is no individual freedom of expression in the absence of this political body which is sovereign. And this political body, this sovereign political body, is called the nation. So, once again, the flag stands for national pride, national identity, national freedom, national sovereignty. When you don't respect the flag, then you don't respect all these virtues. America isn't a perfect country, and all Americans should strive to improve their condition and the country by and large. But why should you show your discontent, your anger, your frustration during the most solemn moments? Why should one defile the rights of a civil religion, we can almost call it like that, which for centuries has honored the sacrifices made by men and women in uniform. Why should we do that? Some football players had no clue. They didn't know what they were doing. They were doing it because they were asked to do it. And they thought they were protesting against police violence. And they thought that was more important than being united around a powerful symbol which stood the test of time. Personally, I think they were utterly wrong. But I also believe that the President of the United States of America is someone who is morally entitled to sanction this behavior. I think you guys should ask the NFL to reimburse your ticket, and I think we all should boycott all games until such public gestures of dishonoring the flag disappear. Of course, President Trump, who sanctioned the behavior on the pitch, doesn't have the legal authority to fire or hire American athletes. But they are spoiled, and we can say that, and they are irresponsible, and we can say that. Remember that the judges from the Ninth Circuit just recently, maybe a few weeks ago, decided to punish a coach for humbly and silently, maybe just for 15 seconds, praying on the pitch. He was a great former Marine soldier, and he was denied the right to do that. At the same time, kneeling for secular purposes seems to be unproblematic, seems to be okay, just fine for the left. The left, which is awfully good at mocking our traditional values, our sacrosanct beliefs, our personal sacrifices, and our dearest memories. Everything that constitutes a culture, a nation, can come under the attack of the left. The cosmopolitan left is obsessed with destroying your sense of identity, your sense of belonging to a church, to a nation, to a family. Everything that gives you self-confidence has to be destroyed. I, as an Eastern European guy, can personally testify to the fact that thousands of people here in Bucharest, perhaps also in Warsaw and Budapest, for sure in Minsk and Moscow, are queuing up for hours, and they're happy to do so for hours, as I said, for hours and perhaps for days, in order to get their B1 visa, to travel legally to the United States. That's what they want to do. Just to come and enjoy America for a few days. People in Africa, people in Asia, people from the former Soviet bloc, should I say, they all dream of settling in America, the country of George Washington, of Ronald Reagan, of Martin Luther King, and Steve Jobs, for that matter. So why are then the left's ideologues keen to dishonor the greatness of a nation that still attracts so much talent, so much potential, which has proved to be, for generations of Latinos and Afro-Americans, a country of great opportunity for a peaceful, prosperous, and pleasant life. That's America, guys. That's America for you.
Liberty is American, alive in our hearts and minds.
Now, should I remind you guys that the radical left's hatred for these powerful symbols, for patriots, for patriotism in general, is old? You know that. Wherever the Communist Party in the 20th century came, occupied, and savaged an entire country, the first thing they did, and they did it in my own native country, was to undermine the symbols of a national sovereign identity. The Soviet Union changed the anthem, the lyrics, and of course the symbol, the flag itself, in many of its satellite countries, trying thus to erase people's collective memory as well as any allegiance to the past. Because the past is like a good fertile soil. It gives you sort of strong roots. The same tactics apply today. The left is attacking everybody who is proud of his ancestors. In 2014, the municipality of Rancho Palos Verdes, California, asked Donald Trump, who was born, by the way, on June 14th, on the National Flag Day, to reduce the size of the American flag. Perhaps this is a small flag in comparison to what Donald Trump placed on his golf course. Its size for the municipality was too big, it was 70 feet long. Donald Trump, as we know him, sued the municipality, won the case, and turned the flag into a beautiful, beautiful symbol for his entire local community. This is something that happened also in, I think, was it in Florida? Yes, in Florida, in Palm Beach, the same accusation was brought forth against Donald Trump, who then was just a citizen, not a president. And the accusation again was against Trump exposing an oversized American flag on private property, guys, on private property. We should not also forget what happened to that late Rob Ford. The radical left hated him. Why? Because he insisted on displaying the national Canadian flag on the official building of Toronto's mayor, and that happened on the day the gay parade took place, and he wanted to display the flag rather than the LGBT rainbow symbols, because he thought the Canadian flag, not this one, but the Canadian flag, is something that unites people. There is good news in this entire controversy, guys. The American people have rejected the irrational stance of the alt-left. We also are committed to resist all those who undermine what is dear to us, what is precious and sacrosanct to us. And that's, of course, the past, the memories, the families that gave us birth. We will stand up whenever our symbols come under attack. We will defend our heroes, our national values, our institutions. We shall fight them on the pitches. We shall fight them live, on air. We shall never surrender.